Let's talk about what happens when the machines we build learn to drive better than we do. It's a future that feels like it's just around the corner, and believe me, its impact is going to be way, way bigger than just your daily commute. When we picture autonomous vehicles, this is probably what comes to mind, right? These sleek, futuristic cars just gliding through cities, making life a little easier. And yeah, it is an amazing piece of technology. But that's just scratching the surface. If you look just a little bit deeper, behind that shiny new tech, you'll find a story that isn't really about convenience at all. It's about a massive shift in our entire economy. Yeah, it's a story that directly impacts millions of people whose entire livelihood depends on getting behind the wheel of a vehicle every single day. Because you see, a self-driving car isn't just another machine. It's a force that is absolutely poised to reshape our whole society. And this quote right here, it just gets straight to the point. We're not talking about a few tweaks to an industry. We are looking at a complete and total overhaul of one of the biggest job categories in the country. So let's get specific. Who exactly is in the direct path of all this change? Let's take a look at the people behind the wheel. Okay, first up, we have the single largest group of professional drivers out there, nearly 2 million long-haul truckers. Now pay attention to how this is likely to unfold. The entire job doesn't just vanish overnight. What's happening first is that automation will take over those long, boring, predictable highway miles. That leaves human drivers to handle the really tricky parts, like navigating city streets, which actually creates this whole new kind of hybrid job. And the numbers just keep on stacking up. Next, you have somewhere between 1.5 and 2 million taxi and rideshare drivers. For them, the threat looks a little different. It's all about direct competition. We're already seeing robo-taxi fleets pop up in big cities, and as they get bigger and better, they could seriously squeeze out human drivers working in the gig economy. Then you've got all the delivery drivers. We're talking packages, mail, food, groceries, a group that's well over 1 million people strong. In this space, automation is really gunning for what they call the last mile. That final stretch from the local warehouse to your front door. Think little autonomous vans or even those tiny robots you see on sidewalks. The human role then starts to shift from driving to actually managing these fleets of machines. And finally, there are about 160,000 public transit operators. So why are these jobs often the first to go? Well, it's pretty simple. They operate on fixed, predictable routes. It's the perfect use case. We're already seeing self-driving shuttles on big corporate campuses or doing loops at the airport. These are basically the real-world labs for this entire revolution. But this story goes so much further than just the driver's seat. This is a change that creates a massive economic ripple effect. Just think about it for a second. When a long-haul trucker drives across the country, they're not just moving stuff from point A to point B. They are a mobile economic engine, propping up this whole network of other businesses all along their route. When a truck drives itself, it doesn't need to stop for coffee, or for a hot meal, or for a place to sleep. So this whole web of businesses that depends on drivers is suddenly at risk. We're talking truck stops, motels, mechanics, even industries like insurance and warehouse logistics are going to have to totally reinvent themselves. Now, of course, the argument is always that new technology creates new jobs, and that's true. But the new jobs in this driverless world, well, they play by a completely different set of rules. And this chart right here, it just perfectly captures that fundamental shift. We're moving from millions of individual drivers spread all over the country to a much, much smaller workforce of technicians and managers who are all clustered together in just a few big operational hubs. And these new jobs, they're super technical. We're talking about skills in fleet management, remote vehicle monitoring, sensor calibration, cybersecurity. There is a huge skills gap between these kinds of jobs and the driving jobs that they're replacing. Which really brings us to the core question of this whole explainer. This isn't just a technical question about the future of cars anymore. It's a deeply human question about the future of our society. So really, what is the plan here? How do we support the millions of people whose livelihoods are hanging in the balance? What does a fair transition actually look like in the real world? And let's ask the other big question. Who gets to cash in on all this newfound efficiency? Are the financial gains going to be concentrated in the hands of a few giant corporations?
Or will those benefits somehow be shared more broadly?
At the end of the day, our roads might soon be full of cars that drive themselves. But the real question, the one we all need to answer, is this one. It's not really about the technology in the car, is it? It's about the values we use to steer our society forward.